Welcome to JenTalks. Welcome to everybody watching me live right now, and welcome to anybody logging on or watching this talk at a later date. You're all very welcome. So this is another talk of the JenTalks series, and what I wanted to talk about today was that conundrum of having tools in your toolkit. So everybody's got something that they use to get them through difficult times in life. Some people it's yoga, some people it's food, some people it's wine, some people it's we have our tools that serve us better and our tools that don't necessarily serve us that well, or they might serve us in the moment, but they cost us more further down the line. I mean, I suppose we call them, emotional regulation tools, how we regulate our emotions. And we all have our coping techniques, and some of us call them, or I call them your survival strategies. So for me, your survival strategies can be kind of like whatever you use to get through at the time. But the irony of these tools that we have are that when we're really deep down the hole, when we've fallen down the hole and we're deep in our own manure, we'll say, that's when it's the hardest time possible to reach for your tools. And I often ask myself that question, like, why didn't I just, do a bit of a breathing exercise or go for a walk or do something that I knew was going to do my mental, physical, or emotional health well at the time? And the thing is that, first of all, we can't, because when we've fallen down the hole, like those tools are so out of reach for us. And what we tend to do is we tend to reach for the things that maybe are not the most sensible, or I don't want to say healthy, because it's like, it's a kind of shame in that good stuff, bad stuff, but it's like the tools that we reach for to get us out of the struggles that we're in, we pay the price for further down the line. So whether it's overeating, whether it's a lack of exercise, whether it's over drinking, whatever it might be, we overindulge ourselves. And the reason I want to share this talk today was to really just get rid of the shame that we have around reaching for the tools that we don't judge as healthy at the time. So we regulate our emotions through, sometimes people even think things like gaming, shopping online, whatever we reach for to get us through the times that we need to get through. So the first thing I want to do is remove the whole putting them into the bold corner versus the good corner. Survival techniques and strategies are exactly what they are. They're what you use to survive what it is you're getting through. Like, we have this big thing about the COVID stone, that people are carrying weight. Well, thank God that's all you're carrying. I mean, you've survived the last year. You've survived, challenges in life. I mean, we've had challenges in our life long before we had this COVID-19 business. So we may have experienced grief, we may have experienced separation, we may have experienced, physical, mental, emotional abuse in our lives. I mean, we've all had trauma long before COVID ever came to the scenes, and we've had survival strategies. And as we get through the traumas that we suffer, the challenges that we get through, we build a thicker skin, which is what we know as resilience. And resilience is one of the big key words at the moment. We all have a level of resilience. The great news about resilience is the tougher your life has been so far, the more resilient you are today. So, if you want a resilience badge for your struggles that you recovered, I'm going to award it to you right now. So polish your lovely resilience badge. And then, instead of looking at your survival techniques through the lens of shame, oh God, I ate too much during COVID, or I never finished the online course that I signed up for, or, my job my self-employed business that I set up went to pieces, or the job that I wanted to do fell through, or I left, or I couldn't cope with, or, I didn't repair those relationships with my family that I kept saying that I was going to do. All of these promises that we make ourselves, instead of looking at your survival strategies through a baton of shame and a baseball bat to beat yourself up over what you did and didn't do correctly. Here's where you need to bring the focus in. It's not about the big, huge gestures that we make in the middle of all the trauma. It's about the small, incremental changes that you do every single day. It's about consistency. So, for example, if I had like a diet that was considered to be healthy, so say for example, every morning I had my five a day, or I had my porridge, and I had a pretty kind of good start to the day most of the days of my life. It doesn't really matter if I have a mad craving for McDonald's breakfast this morning, or I make a big huge fry for my breakfast, or I have no breakfast on another day, because what I've done consistently for all the other days is I've nourished my body. So I'm not going to get into healthy, non-healthy, good versus bad. I'm just talking about, things that you're doing well on a consistent level means that when you do things that aren't as consistent, that your consistency stands to you. So, in other words, what you're doing right most of the time stands to you when you don't do things so well. That's like why when we go on holidays and we go ballistic, we can get away with it because then we come back and we sort of reel it all back in. And so that's whether it's drinking or dancing or eating or whatever, or lobbing a line or whatever it might be. So here's the message when it comes to your emotional regulation and your survival strategies. Absolutely, in the midst of trauma or challenge, we don't always make the best decisions for ourselves. And that's because we're usually in the fight, flight, freeze response. So we're not coming from really the best part of our thinking mind. So we're not making the best decisions for ourselves. And so what? So what? You do what you need to do to get through the moment. But when you come out of the moment and you're back in your thinking mind, you're back in your lovely prefrontal cortex, and you are starting to make better decisions. Instead of looking back with shame, going, "Oh my God, I should have done this and I should have done that," and so forth. First of all, always change it "I should" into an "I could." In future, I could handle things differently. And instead of going, right, well, the next time I'm deep in my knees in absolute challenge or trauma or disaster or whatever it might be, say to yourself, what could I do daily that could keep the roots of the tree strong, that when the storm comes, because it will come, because life is full of storms as well as lovely sunshine, like today, when the storm comes, that the roots will be that bit stronger. So have a look at what you can have in your toolkit. And maybe you have a million things in your toolkit that are serving you just fine. And or maybe there's something new that you want to add into your toolkit, or maybe there's something you want to revisit that you learned a long time ago. Like maybe there was a specific yoga pose that you really enjoyed. I know I've only recently gone back to a couple of poses, and because my back has started hurting me, and I'm like, oh, I really need to stretch that back out. So even though there's other things I do, I said there's a little couple of things I'm going to add in now that my physical body needs. It's not mental, it's not emotional, it's actually physical at the moment. Probably down to a lot of driving I've been doing. So what can I do to help feed the physical part of my body based on the niggly pains that I'm feeling, And that might be something that I keep on consistently, or that might be something that I just need temporarily. And then what do I do consistently every single day that makes the root and the trunk of this tree nice and strong? So for me, as you know, I've mentioned Joanne Faulkner, like I have to be her biggest fan. I do my Qigong. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking in the background there, but that's what happens when you're live. Then also I have my breath work, and there's times when I'm better. So the last couple of weeks, gone through a little bit of a dip. I've fallen into the hole. I've had a few struggles. And it's funny because when I needed the breath the most, I didn't reach for it. It was just like, I nearly forgot that I had that as a tool, but I've gone back to it now. I've gone back to doing my breathing exercises, come back to doing some of my mental fitness exercises using the PQ, the Positive Intelligence app. And then I have meditation. I love meditation. So again, the last 2 weeks, I've probably done maybe one, maybe two meditations, which I would normally at least do 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, every day, So it's just like I say, that's what prompted me to give this talk. When we need our tools most, it's when they're the most difficult to reach for. So it's just, I suppose, to give you permission to say, we will reach for whatever we can. We can only do what we can do in that moment of struggle. And then when we're out of it, then we can look and say, okay, what do I need to do consistently so that when I face another challenge in life, the roots are stronger and it won't knock me over the same way it did. It's not because you're going to be unaffected by challenge. Nobody's unaffected by challenges in their life. That is what life is. And the beauty of challenges is that they make you appreciate life when it's challenge free. You appreciate the peace, you appreciate the joy and the happiness when it comes. But remember that lovely spiritual expression, this too will pass. So the challenges pass, but so do the happy times. So appreciate them when you're in the happy times. It's like the weather, because we're not guaranteed sunshine and good weather in Ireland. When it comes, we down tools and we appreciate it. Well, it's the same for us in our life. When the happy times are here and the joy and peace are here, enjoy them and savor them. And like that, when you are down a hole and you feel like somebody's shoveling manure in on top of you, remember that is temporary too. That will pass. So the message I'm leaving you with is to remember that whatever tool gets you through the moment that you're in is good enough. And then if you want to look at any way of improving that, you look at the daily tools that you can use, the small incremental changes that are consistent in your life that will stand to you when you're facing your next challenge. Quickly before I go, I want to remind you that the Wellbeing Network is on Tuesday, the 6th of July. The topic is Live Well, Live Long, and it's based on the teachings of Peter Deadman from traditional Chinese medicine. And it's very much related to anybody that's gone through any kind of trauma or challenges in the last year, and how to undo what things you can do to help rid your body of the stress and anxiety that you may have suffered or may still be suffering, so that you can live a healthier and longer life, even though we've had this unbelievable pandemic and lockdown imposed on us over the last year and few months. And it's really, I suppose, how to soothe and how to heal the body, the mind, emotion, physical body, and energetic body. So that's what the talk will be on next Tuesday, Tuesday the 6th. Yeah, that's next Tuesday. Okay, so guys, I will love you and leave you. If you're looking to get tickets for the Wellbeing Network, you can get them on my website. But if you have any difficulty, you can message me as well, and I can send them over to you through Messenger, and you can just PayPal or Revolut, whatever works for you. Okay, guys, love you and leave you, and I'll see you again this time next week. So thanks very much for your time and your enthusiasm and your interaction, and I'll see you all again.